I was 16, I was just finished my GCSEs at school. I finished school on the Friday, finished the week, and on Saturday I woke up with a really sore throat. It just felt like a cold. By Saturday night I was struggling even more to swallow, and when I had a drink of water it just felt like I wasn't gulping. And I went to bed that Saturday, got told, oh, don't be silly, just get to bed, go to sleep, you'll feel better in the morning. And I went to bed on the Saturday, and that's the last thing I remember. I've been told what happened was I woke up on Sunday and I collapsed on the landing of my mum and dad's house, collapsed on the floor, went into respiratory arrest. So my epiglottis in my throat had started to swell up and block the air supply from my throat to my brain, and that is how I ended up with a hypoxic brain injury. So the oxygen supply to my brain was cut off for well, it can be cut off for seconds and have damage, but when it's cut off for minutes it does cause lasting damage to your brain. I had lots of dreams in my coma. I was in a coma. I was taken into intensive care, and my parents were asking, you know, if this is just a throat infection. They just thought it was an ENT thing. No one had mentioned the brain at this point. They just thought that my throat had closed up and that I would be better after a few days on the ventilator. And I wasn't waking up, and they were asking the doctors and the nurses, why isn't she waking up? Why isn't she speaking? Why isn't she talking? You know, they couldn't shut me up, so they were wondering why I wasn't awake giving them orders. And it turns out it's because there was damage to my brain, and no one had thought about it at first. And then when they realised, you know, I went for a CT scan or MRI scan, and that's when they realised that there was some damage to my brain, that there was a brain injury that had happened. When I did wake up, I couldn't talk, I couldn't see. My optic nerves had been damaged because of the lack of oxygen. It's called cortical blindness, so I couldn't see anything whatsoever. It was just black or shadows if I was lucky, and I couldn't speak and I couldn't move for myself. I was okay cognitively. I could remember how Hitler rose to power for my GCSEs, but I couldn't talk, I couldn't speak, I couldn't brush my own teeth or move my hands. My hands were like this. So they were like, one was shut tight and one was like this, like bent back. So I couldn't do anything with my hands, I couldn't feed myself, I couldn't swallow. I was like having a brain of a 16-year-old trapped in the body of a baby, basically, or a toddler learning to have to do everything else again. One of my main goals was to get back to education. I wanted to go back to school, back with my friends, and do my A-levels. With the support of my school, I did manage to go back to school to do a A-level in English literature, so audiobooks helped with that. Then I went to university. I went on from that and got a foundation degree in events management, and then I did a BA honours in hospitality management and managed to get a first class honours degree, which I was much happier with. During this, I helped found Headway Blackpool Wyre Fylde, the charity. There was a group of us, family members of survivors, professionals, and people that wanted to help set up a group for acquired brain injury survivors in Blackpool. I personally felt very lonely. I felt like no one understood. I didn't know anyone my age or anyone that had an acquired brain injury. We wanted to help others connect and talk to each other and meet, and have a place where everyone felt okay to be themselves with the brain injury. One One of the best things about Headway Blackpool Wyre Fylde is the social side of it. We get to go to day trips together and meet in the community together. We did our charity triathlon in 2015, November 2015, and I particularly remember that day because that is the day I met my future husband. After the triathlon we met and swapped numbers, and he said to me, well, I've got short-term memory loss. So I thought, oh, well, I best give him my number now whilst he remembers me. So that's what happened, I did. And the rest is history. So I struggled with relationships and having to explain my disability, having to explain why I did things, why I said things, why I acted certain ways because of my brain injury to people that didn't have a brain injury. This couldn't empathise, I don't think, or understand as well as someone with a brain injury. So I'm really glad I met David at the Headway Blackpool Triathlon. I wouldn't have met him if it wasn't for that event, if it wasn't for Headway. So, you know, thank you Headway Blackpool for finding me a husband.